All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Today is April 19th, which is right before Yom HaShoah, the Holocaust Remembrance holiday. And our theme this month, this is probably the last service we'll have for this theme, which is God and the Divine. So if we could all say this together. We light this chalice for our children and youth, and for us celebrating the flame of faith lit in each of us, honoring the light each of us brings into the world, rejoicing in the community we create together. All right, so now we have joys and concerns. If you have a joy or a concern that you'd like to share, go ahead and raise your hand. You can see the instructions on the screen right now. And we'll get started. Looks like Jackie has her hand.
There have been two fairly large-scale food giveaways in Lafayette since the lockdown began. And for both of them, the resources don't go far enough to meet the need. There was a big one at the Cajun Dome that was, they said they have enough food for 1,000 to 1,500 people. And people started waiting at 7:30 in the morning for a 2 o'clock event.
Wow.
And they had to close the line way before 2 o'clock. I read another story in San Antonio where they have a much larger Second Harvest food bank, that they had 10,000 cars show up, but they were able to serve 10,000 cars, and we can't even do 1,000. I don't know what the answer is, but it really concerns me.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
I saw Mary had her hand up. Make sure you unmute, Mary. I think, okay, I unmuted you.
All right, thank you. I didn't know if I had to do it or not. Yesterday, a dear friend of mine died. She had pancreatic cancer, and for 9 months, she's been she was very courageous, and she's a very witty person, and was surrounded by loved ones. Last night, I picked up Rumi and read a poem about death, and it was, I can't remember it all, very much paraphrased, but for hundreds of thousands of years, I was a rock. For so many years, I was an insect, and then a fish, and then I became a human who says death is not the end. Anyway, he said it so beautifully. I wish I could do that, but so keep her in your prayers, or whatever you do for a deceased. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Looks like Scott has his hand
up. Yes, the reason that Ebony was not able to attend, her friend Jessica, she asked that we keep her in our thoughts. Her friend Jessica has multiple issues. Spinal fluid leaking through her eyes. She has Ebony herself has lupus. She's been diagnosed with lupus. And so they're trying to get her friend Jessica an appointment, which is very difficult at this time, and also medications that she needs for her symptoms. So she just asked that I talk about this for her.
Gotcha. Thanks, Scott. Diane?
I'm joyful that Susan is with us today. Were you able to hear me?
Yep. Sorry.
Good.
I was having trouble unmuting myself. I am joyful for that too. All right. I think that's everyone, unless anyone else has their hand up, but I don't think I see anyone. Cool. All right. Well, if we could all say this together. For the joys shared, we join you in celebration. For the sorrows and
For the
concerns,
sorrows and concerns
may
spoken.
you feel our sympathy and compassion. For all that remains unspoken, both joy and sorrow, may the caring of our community offer you both kindness and hope. So today is Yom HaShoah, and we have a special kind of ritual for that, which I'm going to share that Diane found, which I thought was cool. So this week holds the annual observance of Holocaust Remembrance Day, or Yom HaShoah. Jewish communities prefer not to call the dreadful events of the 1930s and 40s the Holocaust because of that word's original meaning of a burnt offering made to God. They say there was no offering. The Hebrew term Yom HaShoah means day of destruction, or the day of the catastrophe. And indeed, it was a destruction and a catastrophe, remembered on a special day once a year. So today we remember at this time of candles. I light this first candle for the Shoah, the extermination of Jews, gays, gypsies, the handicapped, and dissenters. Some of our own were included in that great destruction, among whom we remember Norbert Capek, the Czech Unitarian who left us the ceremony of flower communion. There have been other mass exterminations throughout history. The extermination of many, many native people in the Americas has left scars. More recent mass killings include the genocide in Cambodia in the 1970s, in Rwanda in 1994. Current genocides include the Darfur region of Sudan, Yemen, Iraq, Myanmar, Burundi, Nigeria, Central African Republic, Somalia, and Syria. In which of these cases are international resources brought to bear to stop the killing? And is it less or more likely with the coronavirus sweeping the world? I light this candle for the failure to act, for the remembrance of those times when it might have helped. I light this candle of hope that the world community will find ways to intervene in situations where ethnic or economic tensions are threatening to turn murderous. May there be no more days of destruction, days of catastrophe anywhere in the world, never again. Hopefully you can see all these candles. All right, so now we have a hymn. It's called Bless the World. Feel free to sing, while you're muted. Other than that, you can just enjoy the sounds. Hopefully you can hear this.
With our minds and our hearts and our hands, may we choose to bless the world. With our minds and our hearts and our hands, may we choose to bless the world. With our minds and our hearts and our hands, may we choose to bless the world. With our minds and our hearts and our hands, may we choose to bless the world.
All right, we have a reading. It's called To Serve the People. To worship God is nothing other than to serve the people. It does not need rosaries, prayer, carpets, or robes. All peoples are members of the same body, created from one essence. If fate brings suffering to one member, the others cannot stay at rest. We have a responsive reading. I'll read the regular text and everyone reads the bold text. And I'll start the bold text with y'all. Source of life, who is known by many names, overturner and illuminator of hearts. We gather with gratitude for the earth and all who journey in it. We give thanks for the interconnectedness of all creation.
Do you want us muted or not muted?
I'll unmute y'all. We declare openly the times we have fallen short from living out the call to justice our sacred stories place upon us. From recognizing the whole creation as an extension of our being. From hearing the plight of the creation yearning for justice. From seeing the harm our way of life and our policies upon the creation.
Source
of
wisdom
wisdom,
is not
who is known
forget.
by many names.
The
The prophet Muhammad
Ask what actions are most excellent.
To gladden the heart of a human being, to feed the hungry, to help the afflicted, to lighten the sorrow of the sorrowful, to remove the wrongs of the injured.
Let us not forget.
Let us not forget.
The psalmist asks,
Who is fit to hold power and worthy
To act in God's place.
Those with a passion for the truth, who are horrified by injustice, who act with mercy to the poor and take up the cause of the helpless, who have let go of selfish concerns and see the whole creation as sacred.
Let us not forget.
Jesus, carpenter of
Nazareth
Nazareth,
asks,
What is the
greatest
greatest commandment?
commandment?
To love your creator, to love your neighbor, to undermine oppressive powers with life-giving actions, to be in solidarity with all who suffer, and to teach others to act for justice.
let us not forget.
Let us not forget.
Source of justice.
Known by many names.
Known by many names.
Let us not swerve from the path of righteousness that leads to just and equitable relationship.
Open our
eyes that we may see the immigrant and undocumented.
Whose labor enables and sustains our living, the farm worker, the hotel maid, the line cook, the childcare provider, the healthcare worker.
Give us the
Courage to stand with those crossing our borders.
Facing economic oppression and political persecution, and work to support their families, aspiring to participate in the bounty of the creation.
Give us
Give us
the
the
strength
strength
to
confront the
confront
prejudice,
the prejudice, tolerance of those who are fearful,
and respond by closing our borders to those who sojourn seeking life and opportunity.
give us the
will to leave
Leave
behind
behind the
safety
safety of our
sanctuaries
sanctuaries and
and
temples.
temples,
and claim our
Claim
place
our place in the
movement
movement
to transform
form the
creation.
creation.
That our voice, our heart, our spirit will join the voice, heart, and spirit of all who demand to live with respect, justice, and peace.
Source
of
direction,
who is known by many names
names
in our
in our
daily
daily
living.
living.
Let us be guided.
By the highest estimate of the worth and dignity of every person, regardless of their legal status.
And
And
let us not forget
that the creation is founded on justice, and that we have the moral responsibility to bring forth justice into these times.
May
May
it
it be so.
May it be so.
Jessica. Jessica.
All right, we have another hymn. This one is sung, Emily tells me, as a round. We all will say the first two lines and then, or sing the first two lines. And then after that, you can either sing the regular line or the line in parentheses. And you'll hear what I mean.
In these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing. In these hard times, in these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing. In these hard times.
Awesome. I really like that one. So now we'll start the meditation. It's called On Letting Go. And if you'd like to just kind of start sinking into your thoughts and prayers and close your eyes, I don't know if Bruce wants to play.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'll start. Let us enter into a time of meditation and prayer. Feel the earth beneath your feet as it supports you. Feel the love of this community as it surrounds and enfolds you. Let your breath as it flows in and out of your body. Listen to your heartbeat. Take another breath and hold it. The air you hold in your body is the most precious thing in the world, for your very life depends on it. And yet none of us can hold on to it more than a moment, or else we would strangle and die. What is most precious to us is to be released, so that we may live and live fully. Look into your heart and find what is there and hold it. The love you hold within your heart is the most precious thing in the world, and yet no one can hold on to it any more than your heart can withhold its blood. Or else we would die from loneliness and misery. What is most precious to us must be shared. so that we may love and fully. Look into your life, those things that are most precious to you. Again, you'll find that their value but in being shared. Life, love, laughter, longing. May we share these precious gifts, that they may return to us multiplied beyond measure. Feel free to slowly Awesome. Thanks, Bruce.
You're welcome.
So I'm very thankful for Scott for stepping in to read a sermon. And so he chose this one called What If God Was One of Us by Reverend Kirk Lodeman Copeland. And if he's ready.
Thank you, Hunter.
Yeah.
But when I say God, it is poetry and not theology. I first read these words by Unitarian minister John Haynes Holmes more than 40 years ago, and his sentiment remains true for me. If I were to amend his words, I would say, when I say God, it is poetry and neither theology nor science, because God is neither theology nor science. I am not compelled to prove that God exists. Like the Austrian poet Rainer Maria Rilke, I have spent my life circling around God, and I still don't know if I am a falcon or a storm or a great song. I choose to use the word God, but it is notable that in the 20th century theologian Paul Tillich thought that the word God was imprecise and as such a source of misunderstanding. In its place, Tillich spoke of the ground of being and ultimate concern. The ground of being is comprised of the place where we stand, the relationships that connect us, the commitments that we hold, the loyalties that we honor, and the values that inform our actions. Ultimate concern requires that we consider where we place our trust and loyalty, what we live for, and what, if necessary, we would die for. We can use the vertical dimension that connects the ground of being with ultimate concern to construct a faith that will companion us well throughout all the days of our life. My unwillingness to abandon the word God is informed by Unitarian Universalist minister Forrest Church, who said, "God is not God's name. God is our name for that which is greater than all and yet present in each of us." Karen Johnson writes, "If the word or phrase or concept or reference, be it as a noun or a verb, God, enters into my sermon or prayer, it is intended as a bridge, as an approximation, as a silk strand to spin the spider's web that connects us all, shining with dew as the sun rises in the sky. Poetry, not theology. God is not God's name. God is an inexhaustible metaphor. I am unwilling to abandon it because the poet in me has been unable to come up with a better word. I am unwilling to abandon it because I want to offer possibilities for God that are radically opposed to traditional notions of the word. I am unwilling to abandon it because I want to keep circling around it to learn if I am a falcon or a storm or a great song. More often than not, however, the circling around God has convinced me that whatever of the divine resides in me and in you, it is composed of love. My sense of God has grown larger and less personal, yet I am agnostic. I once said to someone that I lived my life as if God existed. Ironically, the secular humanist to whom I was speaking accused me of being intellectually dishonest, arguing that the only choice that I had was to say that God did exist or did not exist. To me, being forced to choose between these two was a false choice. I can only live in the ambiguity of as if. I have no proof to make any other possible choice. No one does. What I do have is this world and today and the people I love and the meaning that we make here together and our work for justice and this religious tradition, which affirms me in so many ways and the abiding feeling that I have always been held in a divine embrace. What I have is a profound sense of gratitude and an abiding hope for the future. And this, all of this, is God enough for me. All of this is evidence for the sense that God is in us. To say that God is in us is not to say that we are God. We are not. A member of the church I served in Pittsburgh was a longtime member of AA. She would often say, "I don't know who or what God is. I just know that I'm not God." In like manner, I am profoundly suspicious of anyone who says that he or she knows what God wants. Such an assertion is both delusional and dangerous. As Anne Lamott reminds us, you can safely assume you've created God in your own image when it turns out that God hates all the same people you do. Perhaps there is a bit of God in each of us. This is in accord with the Hindu concept of Atman, which is a soul spark, a spark of the divine that animates the best in us. Related to this is the Indian greeting and gesture Namaste, which can be translated as the God within me greets the God within you. We are not God, but there is an element of God within us. In a wisdom story about God's plan to hide from humanity, excuse me, I accidentally clicked it and it went small. Okay. I'm looking at the wrong one. Great. Excuse me. Here it is. Okay. In a wisdom story about God's plan to hide from humanity, Sophia asked God, "Why don't you hide yourself within their own hearts? They will never think of looking for you there." There would be God enough in the world if we looked in our own hearts and unleashed the collective power of human love. What would it mean if we were willing to live day by day with the consequence of love? Consider these words by David White from his poem Self-Portrait. It doesn't interest me if there is one God or many gods. I want to know if you belong or feel abandoned. If you know despair or can see it in others. I want to know if you are prepared to live in the world with its harsh need to change you. If you can look back with firm eyes, saying, "This is where I stand." I want to know, if you know, how to melt into that fierce heat of living, falling toward the center of your longing. I want to know if you are willing to live day by day with the consequence of love and the bitter, unwanted passion of your sure defeat. I have been told in that fierce embrace, even the gods speak of God. Namaste. Thank you.
That was awesome. Thanks, Scott. All right. We have the offertory. I will try to sing this. And if you know it, sing it with yourself too. From you,
I receive,
to
you
I give. Together we share, and in this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and in this we live. I think Bruce has a song for us. Pastures of Plenty. Awesome. Thanks, Bruce. And if you'd like to go to uulala.org, you can donate if you look for the donate link. So we have a closing prayer. It's called a prayer of new beginning. In the spirit of community and a sense of purpose in our midst, let us commence the discovery of our strengths, our concerns, our grief, and our joy. Let this journey be one of love, authenticity, and reverence. Let us shape our lives, our work, and our days as an expression of that joy, that love, and of our commitment to service and to each other. And it's by Lori Stewart. And if we could all say this together. Extinguish this flame, not the light of truth, the warmth of community,
Or the fire of
Commitment.
these we carry in our
These we
hearts
carry in our hearts until we are together again.
All right. have some announcements. Diane is doing UUA Tapestry of Faith religious education classes over Zoom. She's doing 2 of them, Facing Death with Life on Tuesdays at 5 and Spirit in Practice Thursdays at 5. That's correct, right, Diane? Still?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. If you would like to attend the AA Freethinkers and Agnostic Zoom meeting on Wednesday, you can contact Linda. And we are still matching the Move the Mindset donations. If you'd like to do that, specify if you're doing that, like send an email to Bruce. And here's the events for the upcoming weeks. Next Sunday is our general congregational meeting. We'll be voting on the board positions, which is 4 officers. And if you'd like to nominate someone, you can contact Diane Kirksey. Next month is, the theme is the Sabbath. And so to start us off, I will do a sermon called Work and Rest, the Rhythm of Our Lives. And this month, as far as kind of just like general events, Yom HaShoah starts tomorrow at sunset. Earth Day is the 22nd. So if you're still trying to do that eco challenge, I think you have until then. And then the first day of Ramadan starts the 23rd at sunset. Oh, sorry. Does anybody have any other, I don't know, normally someone brings something up, but maybe everybody is good.
Yeah, I'd like to mention that the slate of candidates is posted on the announcements on the homepage.
Good point. Yep.
And the GA is going to be virtual, from my understanding.
Right. Same link. I think Emily will be sending out an announcement about it just to make sure everybody can get on. So yeah. Oh,
You mean General Assembly? Hunter?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, you're talking about the congregational meeting.
Sorry, I was, yeah. Scott meant General Assembly.
Yeah, it's going to be entirely virtual this year.
Yes, sorry. Got me confused. Diane, you have your hand up.
I just want to mention that the Islamic community Facebook page lists a call for them from them for support donations. So if you're interested in donating, they could use the money right now in Lafayette Islamic community.
Cool. Mike?
Yes, I was told by an Islamic friend of mine that the proper thing to say is have a blessed Ramadan.
Okay. Just, you mean like, when would you use that?
Well, when you see your Islamic friend and it's about Ramadan or it's during Ramadan, you know, I never, like we say, Merry Christmas.
Right.
You would say, have a blessed Ramadan.
Okay, cool. That's good to know.
It's good to know.
That's the big holiday that ends with the Eid celebration.
Right. Yeah. Cool. All right. If no one else has got any events. Oh, Susan's got something. Sorry, I can't see everybody at the same time. You got to unmute. I'll unmute you. What you
Okay, thank you. Okay. So I was wondering if y'all had anything cool to do for Earth Day, because I usually go to Vermilionville for that, and I don't really have anything planned. What about going to Mary's place? Anybody want to do that?
That would be cool.
Whatever that's called, Longfellow Evangeline State Historic Site.
How do we, I would like to do that. What are your thoughts about how to stay safe if you have to get a ride with somebody over there?
Oh.
That's my question too.
Or I could just not go. I mean, other people who do have a car could go. Or there's a little car I can rent.
I'm thinking.
Well,
Yeah, because that's my conundrum also, but I don't have to go.
Yeah, I'd like to go, but I'm okay with not going.
Maybe we could rent a limo.
So the question is it safe? My question is, I live with 70 people here, and they are not all able to take precautions. So I feel like anytime I go out close to other people, I could be a carrier of coronavirus.
Do you have a mask, Diane?
I do have a mask.
I mean, so maybe that's one way.
Well, I'm just putting it out to you guys to ask. I mean, I would have to have a ride, and I'm curious about what anybody's feelings are about getting in the car with me.
Why don't we chat about it right after this?
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I would like.
Yeah.
Okay, if no one else has got an event, let's finish out. I'm gonna mute everyone so we can all sing on our own. I don't know if Bill wants to sing this, but I can sing it if not. Hold on, we can't hear you, Bill. Let me unmute you.
I'd like to hear Bill.
Yeah. You want to lead us?
I'm not seeing. There we are. May I who live be true unto my being, one in my thoughts, my words, and every deed. I was born free, an ever-changing river is what I am, and neighbor, so are you. We have the power through laughter, love, and tears to face all fears and live forever free.
In this community, we give and we receive. May we go forth now to share the bounty of our love.
Amen.
Yeah. Thanks, Bill.